Hey there, it's been a little while. Thanks so much for coming back with me. It is Eli, if we haven't met. I'm a social worker and real estate agent in Boulder County, and I was just on my drive home from a marketing event, like the guy standing at a booth talking with everybody, and thinking about how that was never really something that I could have seen myself doing, even a handful of years ago or a couple of years ago. But how much has changed in terms of my job, my expectations for myself, but really my ability to socialize with strangers. And I made a video talking about my perspective as a mental health worker, a social worker, a mental health therapist, on Impractical Jokers in the cast and how well they get people to feel comfortable, how quickly they can build rapport with strangers. And there are fundamentals of their interactions that allow people to feel comfortable enough to interact in the ways that they do. Generally, it's starting by having a friendly approach, being kind, complimenting somebody. Those are good ways in. But again, just to take it back, I was never really the type of person to just be social with strangers. Now, I've felt very comfortable being outgoing around people that I know, and that never really translated to being outgoing around strangers. But I think there were a few key things for me that helped change that and help me form a different side of my personality to be able to take the comfort that I felt being outgoing with people that I know and translate that to feeling comfortable being outgoing with strangers. I think the first thing that really helped me was being a busser and then a food runner, expo back waiter, working at a restaurant. And so I guess just the making it a job seemed to really help me force myself to be social or outgoing with strangers. So working at a restaurant, going to each table, starting the conversation with the folks filling their glass of water before the server comes over, that wasn't easy for me, but doing it over time, it got easier. So I think working in a restaurant definitely helped. After that, a ways after that, I would be the point person for an in-home healthcare company and also the point person for a care management or legal guardianship and care management company. So anytime a family member or the client themselves called, I would be the one to answer. And I think another big thing happened for me there in terms of using that same sort of customer service that I would use in a restaurant setting, but now I'm doing it with people who their care relies on my ability to understand what they need and translate that to other staff or other care managers or their doctors, lawyers, whoever. And you don't have to, but so much of that helps when you have empathy. And so I think that a lot of my ability to communicate with others was really based in feeling what others feel, being able to meet them at their level and understand, not truly understand, but understand their perspective, where they're coming from, and help. And so I found that just being comfortable, also there's a lot to do with confidence in there and knowing what you're talking about. But really, if you care, that shines through everything. So if it's your job to be social in these situations, you will do very well if you care. Or if it's your job, any job that you have, if you care, it will shine through. You don't need to know everything, but if somebody knows that you want to get the answer for them, if you don't know it, they will show you so much grace because they know that you care, and then you follow up and they know that you care. So I'm standing at a booth today meeting hundreds of people, something that I would have never felt comfortable doing just a few years ago, but now it is my job. And I think back to working at the restaurant, when it is your job to be social, that adds another layer of expectation to yourself, because in order to do a good job, I have to be social with strangers today. So there are a lot of different ways to get around discomfort being social or outgoing around strangers, but I think ultimately, if you care about others, it becomes much easier. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that I care about that person right over there, so I'm going to have an open conversation in the middle of a food court because I care. I guess it's applied to the situation. But if you find yourself, and especially if you find yourself in a job where it's hard for you to do that outgoing portion or be that outgoing person, identify whether or not you care. And if you don't care, maybe you would have better talents elsewhere. So, I don't know. I feel like for so long, I limited myself on my lack of belief in myself to be social. But I found that a combination of needing to be social for work, but also caring about what the other person is saying on the other end of the phone or the other end of the conversation is really what helped me overcome feeling shy speaking with others. So just some food for thought, and appreciate you listening to this rant, and I'll look forward to talking to you again soon.